Happy to recognize that sooner rather than later, the International Jaguar Festival will be held in Dallas, October 12th to 16th. That is very exciting news for this part of the country. I've never been to the International Jaguar Festival before. I've been to local Jaguar Festival. And it goes back to step number 9, or forward to step number 9 in the 12-step program of why not to join or how not to join any more masterminds. You can find some things that you really enjoy doing. For instance, in my case, I really do enjoy being around folks who collect, maintain, and enjoy driving cars, particularly Jaguars. In addition to Jaguars, we're a member of the Mercedes-Benz Club, and for a period of time was a member of a P&P, which was panels and pickups, or pickups and panels, because I particularly like the 1948 to 1955 five-window Chevrolet or GMC pickup trucks. So in other words, find people who have similar interests and background to your own. Enjoy the pleasure of their company, their interest, learn from them, and perhaps even share some experiences that you have. And pay the dues to make sure the organization can continue to run, and perhaps even volunteer to help with the organization, because organizations don't run themselves. And you can take field trips or see museums together, go to lunches together, dinners together, adventures together, explore some back roads together, maybe even see some new hotels which you have not seen before, and just simply enjoy the simple pleasures of being alive, as opposed to the constant, never-ending striving that seems to happen with masterminds. Let me be very specific. There are ages and stages to life and phases. And yes, I am a frightfully curious person, whether it's listening to Arthur C. Brooks's work on Strength to Strength, which talks about how to actually enjoy your life, be satisfied with your life. And he goes over what St. Thomas Aquinas had talked about in terms of the motivators, which are pleasure, power, money, and popularity. And right now, popularity could be best epitomized by how many likes did you get on your latest entry on whatever it is that you make entries upon, or how many books did you sell, or how many likes did you get, or whatever measure of popularity you have. The power, how many people are in your your group, or your mastermind, or your club, or your church, or how many clients do you have, or what kind of a client base do you have. And further, why on earth would anybody follow anybody who's just walking around their home early in the morning and talking into a telephone? And yet we see so much of that on a daily basis. It's called YouTube. And the nice thing about YouTube, for many years now, YouTube has been the Mr. Wizard of y'all's generation. What do I mean by that? You can ask YouTube just about anything, and it comes up with an answer. Now, it may not be the most accurate, dead-on answer, but it's probably a lot better than some of the guesses we can come up with. For instance, yesterday, or actually Thursday, there was a question on husband and wife, husband younger than the wife, and sadly passes away. He has a 401k. He dies. What happens to the 401k that was in his name? And the big question was, could the wife perhaps, since the husband was younger than she, take that IRA and use or apply his required minimum distribution calculation rather than her own? I'll give you, for instance, let's say I am 69 years of age, and my wife is 73 years of age. Could I use, if I die, could she use my required minimum distribution table rather than hers? And that was the question. And since I am a financial advisor amongst CPAs, they said, gee willikers, I'd like to ask John Checky if he knows the answer to that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to have to check with some experts. So on Monday, I'll be giving the special case folks at Pacific Life and at Jackson National Life, and perhaps our home office and perhaps some other CPAs that I know, say, gee willikers, kids, what can you do with that particular case? Then I'll pass that information along to the folks at Lonnie Morris's CPA study group, which is technically called the Richardson and Plano CPA study group. It's been going on for years and years. Heck, I only thought I'd been there for 10 or 15 years, but it turns out I must have been going there for at least 25 years, because one of the guys had his heart procedure 22 years ago, and I remember knowing him years before he had that heart procedure. So find folks who have a common interest, gather together, share those common interests and pursuits, thus avoiding joining still yet another mastermind. Just yesterday, I ran across a fellow who's doing deals. Doing deals means private placement offerings, which are for folks who are accredited investors. Couldn't begin to recommend that to anybody unless it was approved by our group, the advisor group. They send things through due diligence. Due diligence is when you send people out to investigate and review and almost audit to find out, are these people honest? Is the offering memorandum accurate? Is this a good deal with proper numbers for our future clients? Or is it something that we should just say, gee, that was fun to see, but not anything we actually want to do? Not only does the guy have investments, he has adventures. Because, you just cannot have enough opportunities to go hither and yon. And he has kind of a club, which he calls mastermind. And you can apply for it because you have to qualify. One of the nice things about qualifying for networking groups and mastermind groups is there is some vetting. Vetting is a nice word for, do we like you? Do you like us? Do you fit in? What would you add or subtract from this particular group? And that is of some consequence because we've all been in gatherings where some of the people or one of the persons there just spoils the entire thing by being the north end of a southbound mule. So picking out folks in advance is kind of a helpful thing. We didn't think about interviewing our neighbors before we got here because we already knew some of our neighbors before we got here. That is to this particular neighborhood. Sadly, one of them's died, two of them's gotten dementia, and tastes do change over the years. Be more specific, John. Even when you're part of a group that seems contemporary, seem to have common interests, seem to have a common social economic background, you occasionally went into a dead end and just have to kind of go on down the road. Could be you change your eating habits or drinking habits. Old-timey drinking buddies just hate being around people who stop drinking. People who are not very healthy in terms of their habits hate being around people who are, or inspired by people who are. So, step number 9 of avoiding joining still yet another mastermind or hiring another guru is find groups of people who already have the same interests that you do. Join up, join in, enjoy it, and probably you won't even have to catch an airplane unless you want to get there. This is John Checky, co-founder of Checky Financial and co-author of Spend Time and Save Money Investing in Your Family. Have fun, be well. Look forward to seeing you sooner and later.